Hey, it's Koya.
And Kristen.
And we are back. It's been so long, but we have been practicing, and Kristen's now, she's like a pro now. She can base me. And so I'm so excited to share this kind of like intermediate flow. But I wanted you all to kind of talk to Kristen and see like her experience through it all. So I have a couple questions for you. Is that okay?
Okay.
I just put her on the spot. She was not prepared for this when she came over my house today. But I just want to know like what it's been like, first starting off just trusting and not really knowing what to expect and where you are now.
I would say to start off, just trusting is like really a challenge because you're like, oh, can this person hold up my weight? Then you're all self-conscious about like, how much do I weigh? I don't know. It involves a lot of thinking at first, but then once you learn to trust, then it's easier to just flow and allow the shapes to happen and allow the poses to happen. So it is a challenge at first, but once you get used to it, get your feet wet, like it's totally, like riding a bicycle after that.
I love it. And I know when I started, like being a tall woman, like I'm 5'11", I didn't feel like anyone can hold me or lift me up. Or I feel like if I ate too much that week, oh, I'm too heavy, they're going to drop me, even if I had been practicing with someone. So I had a lot of self-judgment around, like even when I got good, I had a lot of judgment around like my size and my weight, because being in sports and also when I was younger being in pageants, I just criticized. I wasn't trying to criticize myself, but because I was always asked about my weight and what I was eating and how I looked, I naturally had those narratives going on in my mind. So I was naturally like not criticizing but judging myself, like am I too big, am I too this, am I too that. But once I start to surrender with acro yoga, it's like I'm supported, I'm held. And I feel like that's what we have to do in life too, know that we are held, we are supported, even if we fall sometimes, because we fall sometimes.
Right. Yeah, we do.
And this is live and this is going to be honest, and we might fall, but we'll get back up and we'll talk to each other. But it's really more so about trust, number one. Support, which is me as a base. Like sometimes I feel like I fail her, like when I'm too tired or my arms are really sore, or if I accidentally drop her, like I feel so bad, but she's so,
and I'm not even thinking about it. She's like, I feel bad. I'm like, let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, but I can't help it. But I mean, you make mistakes, and I think it's also good just to know for regular life, when you make mistakes, you don't have to beat yourself up. Like if you just communicate, you actually learn more about each other. Yeah. I feel like I've known more about you through our acro practice than I did even before I knew more in real life.
That's true. I didn't think about it that way.
I know, it's crazy because you have like this trust and you have this like, okay, I can communicate with them, not too much, but just enough. Like that's what I feel like is your style, is like just enough. Where some people you have to communicate a lot more, but I feel like once I kind of tell you and give you a little bit of guidance, you get it.
Yeah. I think a good word you said also was surrender. Like also with dealing with the body image, because like you were saying that you just kind of like were judging yourself at some point, and like I was doing that too. Like I still kind of do that. I'm like, ooh, I'm kind of bloated from last night, and I'm going over Koya's house to practice acro, and it's just like you do think about those things, but I'm not going to stress about my waistband rolling down. We're just here to practice. We're here to have fun. We're here to really grow stronger and grow in our own way that we carry ourselves as people, as individuals.
I love what you said, fun. Like that's what it's all about, like having fun, because in fun there is no perfection. It's just like having a good time, trusting each other, communicating, and then connecting. It is fun. And connecting. Yeah, and then it's fun. We just had a flow the other day and we had been gone for a while and it just flowed. It was like great. And it wasn't because we hadn't practiced in a while, but we were strong and our body remembered.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to just kind of talk to you about our process. But if you have any questions about acro, we will hopefully start training in 2022. But for the rest of the year, we're just going to continue enjoying each other and practicing and planning and stuff like that. We do have the regular yoga teacher training available. We'll send the links for that below. And if you have any questions about acro, about yoga, about holistic health in general, just let us know.
All right, let's do this.
Let's do it. Okay, so the first thing we do is show courtesy. So basically, we both stand with feet hip distance apart, and we cross our arms, and we give people the okay grip, and we both bend our knees And I slowly lay down, and she walks on my side, on my right side, and gently brings me all the way down to the ground. I usually check and make sure my head is on the mat, and then she walks beside my ears, making sure she doesn't step over my face. She just goes around. Otherwise, you can drop a lot of dirt in somebody's face.
And you don't want to kick them.
Exactly. So now I place my hands in a C grip around her ankles, very nice and gentle, and then I bring my toes to her lower back. And then she's grabbing the ankles just to see where she was, and now she's just relaxing back into my feet. Now as she relaxed back, I bend my knees to receive her, and then I press her straight up into the air. Her arms are relaxed. She's fully surrendering here. And now I'm gonna let her know which leg to bend by tapping on one ankle. She's gonna bend the knee into the chest, and we call this sexy leg because as you can see, it looks like sexy leg. Okay, and then down. I think I made that name up too, but I really think it. Okay, sexy leg, and I tap the other side. It's better to tap than to say because my right can be her left and right, so it's better to use signals when you're in acro versus saying left or right side. So the position she's in now is called high flying well, and then the I guess the addition that we just did was sexy leg. And now from here, I'm going to put her into seated throne. So first I'm gonna bring my hands into C grip on her feet, and she's gonna bend her knees. I also bend my knees and bring my left heel to the center of her back and my right foot to her thigh. My heel is on her glute and she slowly sits up. I'm pushing with one foot and she's sitting up, and now I bring both feet. And now she's aligning her shoulders with her hips, because if she leans forward too much, she falls over, and then I'm crossing her ankles. How do you feel?
I feel good. I think it's important to say how, like, when you're getting into that, it does feel shaky, but don't be afraid to move forward even if you're shaky.
I love that. It's so important. That one was hard for us. It's not easy. That's definitely an intermediate to advanced move. So I wouldn't try it at home without a spotter. Okay. Okay, now she's in seated throne on my feet, crossing the ankles, and now we're gonna go to foot to shin. So she's gonna place her feet on my shin. I'm bending my knees until I get her feet fat. Now I have a C grip around her feet, and she's gonna stand up. I'm gonna point my toes just a little bit to assist her standing up. And then once her hips leave, I'm bringing my knees into my chest. And I keep my feet and my knees about hip distance apart here, and I can bring my hands into prayer. And she's just engaging and standing straight. And now from here, I'm gonna bring my hands up. She's gonna bend her knees and find my hands. And once she finds my hands, I'm going to tap her hands so she can take her legs straight back. And I'm going to find my foot on her hip, and then she's gonna take the other one back, and I'll find my foot on her other hip. That's really hard. Then she lifts her chest as high as she can for bird. So that was the hardest for us, because once I put my foot on her hip, she has to keep her other leg bent, and it took forever for us to figure that out.
Yeah, I kept straightening my leg.
But she got it. And now from bird, she can go into bow pose, which is bending the knees. I'm giving her toes so her chest stays lifted, but I'm listening. Every time her body moves, I'm moving my feet. I'm thinking about how can I support her more. And then once she grabs her foot, she pushes her foot into her hand, and that helps her lift her heart more, creating more spaciousness here. Now, one thing that we do, which I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this talking, but I'm going to try, is I can put her bow on my hands. So she basically just keeps her shape, and she's just breathing here, ujjayi breath, so she can stay focused while I start to find the balance on her hands. So once my hands reach her waist, I move my toes, and I put my hands on her hip bones. Once I find my hands in the center of her hip bones, I spread my fingers and I try to stack her hip bones over my shoulders. Once I feel the stack, I move my feet. Let's see how we do. Good. And then I slowly bring my feet to her back. She keeps her ankles, and then I press her up, and then she releases the feet one at a time, right foot. And I bring her back to high flying well, other foot. Woo! And
she's back. That was the hardest transition, and that's the best we've ever done it.
Yeah, well, before what were we doing?
She was releasing her feet, and I was telling her to release her feet so she wouldn't make it all the way around. But when you keep the ankles, it allows me to position my feet and bring her all the way through. And then I set my feet beside my ears and then press her up, cloud pose.
All right.
And then she walks around, and we do courtesy up as well. So she'll just help me up. Hagasana. High five calibration. Woo. And there we go. All right. So that was so much fun. Remember, make sure you have pillows. We did that. Make sure you have pillows and just like have fun with it. What was the scariest part?
I mean, it's hard to say what was the scariest part because we've been doing this for quite a while, but I would say bow on your hands is still kind of like, it's intense. It's not scary.
Right.
It's intense because I'm like, oh, I don't want to move and like fall off of her hands kind
Right.
of thing. And I'm just trying to focus.
I think that's my scariest part too. Like I'm literally like, okay, her whole body is like on my hands. And so every time like I'm feeling her movements, I'm sure you can feel can you feel my hands on your stomach?
Yeah.
So my hands are in her stomach. Like I'm just like, if she tips over, she's gonna face plant.
Right.
So it's scary for me. And then I'm like, she can't go back because then she'll just fall out. So yeah, that's my scariest part too.
Yeah.
But it's so much fun, and I can't wait to start really teaching this around the world because I feel like it's not just about the poses, it's really about trust and support and also sisterhood. I think when you practice, because not only do we do Acro together, we practice together. Every Tuesday and Thursday, we do Vinyasa Flow together as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you practice solo, but also practice together if you have someone you can practice with, because it just makes it even more fun. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Any last words for the people?
Not really. Just have fun and get that spotter.
Get that spotter. Get a spotter for sure. Get a spotter to help you out just in case you do fall, because then you can get the poses and you can feel more supported. Okay, so now we're going to show you how to do the flow in a different way, starting from the back. I might cut that off, but we'll start with courtesy. She'll walk to my right. And now we're going to start with her coming up as close as she can. I'm going to make sure I can feel her toes, the tips of her toes. And now I'm going to bring my feet in a V on her hips, so right underneath her hip bones. She's gonna place her hands on my shins, just under my knees, and then she's gonna forward fold. As she forward folds, I bend my knees and then I press her straight up, making sure my feet are over my hips, and I kind of pull her down and she spreads her legs wide. As she spreads her legs wide, you can see her hips more nestle into my feet, and she's more stable. So now she has a nice stable shelf. I can like bounce her around, right, which feels good to her because it's just releasing all of that energy down. She's completely relaxed. I take her hands and I put them back, because sometimes people hold on to the floor, but when you put their backs of the hands down, it makes them completely relaxed. And then I place my hands in the center of her back. So just sending her some love. Take a deep inhale and exhale. So this is really nice for someone. If you have them up here, just like let them sit here for a little while. You can also give them a massage. Make sure you're just going nice and slow and just slowly squeezing the arms. It can help their arms relax as well. Making sure you don't hold on to the elbows too much, but just the meaty part of their arms, just squeezing it gently and then relaxing their hands down. Now this is called folded leaf. After you've had them in the folded leaf for a little while, you can take your hands and you want to keep your thumbs out from your hands here and scoop underneath their elbows and bring the arms around to super yogi. So super yogi, their hands are in prayer, your hands are around their wrists, and you're pressing your feet away and the arms up, but not too much or she'll fall that way, and of course not too much this way, but making sure those feet are stacked over the hips, but then slightly towards your hips a little bit so she gets a nice stretch. And then from here, I like to add a little twist. So I'll hold the hands with one hand, placing my pointer finger in the middle of her wrist and grabbing on with 3 fingers on this side and my thumb on the other side. I bend my left knee and I move her to the right, placing my left hand on her shoulder, and she's just relaxing her head down. And now I bring her back to center, and I do the same thing other side. So bending my right knee, turning her to the left, taking my right hand on her shoulder, and assisting the twist. And here with my feet, I'm just stacking my left over right and giving her a nice twist. Now from here, I'm gonna come palm to palm. So she's gonna bring her palms to my palm. Now at the same time, we're gonna both engage our core and straighten our arms. Our arms are straight. She's lifting up and we're keeping my arms straight. Once she's all the way up, she brings her feet together and I bring my feet and my toes to her hip bones. Now I'm gonna press her up with my toes and press her up with my fingers so she can come all the way up into a beautiful bird. How do you feel?
I feel good. So I'm engaging my back here, lower back, kind of like if I was doing Cobra.
Awesome. And then from here, she's going to go to bow pose. So basically bending one knee, working with one foot at a time, pressing the foot into the hand to lift the heart. Now once her heart is lifted, she can bend the other knee. And I'm just making sure she stays stable on my feet, pointing my toes or flexing my feet depending on what she needs. And now she's pressing both ankles into her hands and staying lifted. Now from here, she's gonna slowly release, just as slowly as she went in, one at a time. And I'm just feeling her, keeping my knees soft to hold her weight. And then find my hands. I bring my hands up so she can find them. And I always put my hands on the outside as a base and her hands in the inside as a flyer. And then I turn my toes out and let her go right back to folded leaf. Bringing the back of her hands down, hands to the back so she can relax. So this is just a simple, this is more beginner, where you can start as a beginner. But now we're gonna take it more intermediate, what you can do from here. So if you're a beginner, you can stop here, relax, and then come down. But we're gonna take it a little further because I want you guys to see the intermediate. So we're gonna go back to super yogi, but this time I'm gonna bend my left knee and have her go up and grab her ankle. She's gonna keep her legs wide, and I'm just gonna twist her around, putting my left foot underneath my right, and I'm gonna switch. I kind of forgot how to do this. I'm gonna switch her in midair, and then bring her around. This is way better, easier to teach in person, but it's a very advanced transition. So basically you have to have her on one foot for a little bit of time where you get the other foot over, and you have to make sure it's someone you can hold. So now she's in what's called straddle bat, and we call it bat because she's going to bring her feet together as her knees stay wide, and she's going to go up and grab her ankles. Her movements are nice and slow because every time she moves, I have to counteract that movement by maybe bending my knees or shifting my hips forward or back to make sure she stays straight.
And this is the best massage. You're gonna get upside down. Maybe the only upside down massage you'll ever get.
I know, it's so good. And this is where it gets deep too, because I bend my knees here, and then I put my forearms on her shoulders, and I turn my head to the side, so she gets a deeper massage in the shoulders. And people love this, but it can be painful if you have tight shoulders. Mm-hmm. And then I press her back up. All right, and so from here, she's relaxing, and from here, we can go into star, or we can go into floating pashi. Which one do you want to do?
Let's do floating pashi.
Okay, so floating pashi, she's gonna straighten her legs and her arms, straight out overhead, keeping hold of the ankles. She almost let go of the ankles, and it would have been a catastrophe. But she remembered, like, oh yeah, go right. So ankles together, arms strong. Now from here, I'm inching my toes off of her hip bones and holding on to her arms until I feel like I can balance her on my hands alone. And then from here, I bring my feet to her back, and she slowly folds into a back bend beautifully, and then grabs her ankles. Once she grabs her ankles, I slowly rock her forward and back, and I adjust my feet just to make sure I'm fully supporting her in a way that's not too painful, because in a back bend, she's very vulnerable. How do you feel?
I feel good. I feel good. How am I doing?
So good. And you'll notice I asked her a couple times, how do you feel? How do you feel? Because she could be like, oh, it's pinching on my right side or something like that. But it's really important to communicate and ask, especially after a big transition, how they're feeling. And you're doing great. Okay, so now I'm gonna ask for her hands. And now we're gonna set up for star. So 2 fingers here, and she has 2 fingers on my forearms as well. And I'm gonna turn my toes out, and she's gonna straddle wide and bring her legs all the way around back into straddle back. Woo!
And we went down.
Oh my gosh, we went down. That was good though.
Yeah.
Oh
We
my
tried to
gosh.
calibrate.
We
That's
tried,
one
I
that-
tried to catch it, but I think it was a lot, like the legs were up high for a while, and I was trying to put my feet around, but then it took too long, and then I was falling. I was like, come on, legs, hold it, but I couldn't put it back.
Yeah, that's one that I've struggled with. Like sometimes it's just like, I don't know, it's hard for me to gauge making my legs go out wide and around.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it's just like awareness, body awareness.
Yeah, I think on that one, the faster you bring your legs from here to here, it doesn't really matter how, the easier it is for me to kind of catch it. And the wider it is, the more base you have to hold you up.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that makes sense. We'll try it again. Actually, I think we're just going to jump into star,
Okay.
because that'll be fun. That one's a hard one to get into if you don't work all the way around.
Yeah.
So now we're going to show you all her jumping into star. So here we're going to do basically, I'm going to bend my knees into the chest, and she is going to bring her head between my feet. Now her shoulders are resting on my feet, and now she's going to jump her hips over her head. Awesome.
One more.
And so you saw I waited until she got her hips over her head to press her up. Her legs are straight and strong, wide. It's almost like a wide leg forward fold. And basically her head is nestled against my heels. My heels are towards each other in the back, and I'm bringing her arms out wide. The wider I bring her arms, the more support she has to maybe even hold it free. And then we come back. I usually don't keep her there too long without her. She's like, I got this, girl. We can stay here forever. And then she grabs my wrists. This is a hard transition for us too. And brings her feet to my hands. Awesome. And now here, I slowly bring the feet down. She points the toes slightly and stands all the way up. Nice! Okay. That's hard for us. Okay. Awesome. Point the toes just a little bit, like high heels, and lean back just a little bit. A little bit more. Right there. Good. Sit down. Yes! Awesome! Good job! Awesome. So that one's so hard because it's like, it's blind and trusting, and I'm basically holding her whole body on my hands. How do you feel, Kristen?
I feel good. I feel sweaty.
I'm sweating. We're both sweating. It's so much fun. Okay, so now we're gonna go into waterfall. So in waterfall, it's really hard, but I'm glad we have on these slick pants because my feet can slide. So she's gonna bring her knees together and then kind of sit up, engage her core, and then slowly she's gonna come into a back bend. Awesome. So I'm supporting her here with my hands. She could go free, but like I said, it's a really vulnerable one, and my feet would need to be higher on her hips in order for her to go all the way back. So from here, we have a very fun way to get out of this. I remove one feet and she brings the leg around, and I hold it.
Did I not do the right around?
No, I think that's something I made up. I don't know how to get out of that fault. But I think one time I caught it, but it didn't happen that time. I think it's the quickness though. I think if it happens quickly, I can catch it, and if not, it just leans too far. But I think I made that up. We won't add that one in the training. No, but there's so many ways to get out of that one. One way is just me holding you, like on my hands, and you just actually are free on the hands, but we've never done that before.
Okay.
So I tried to get out of it like one side at a time. Oh, that's fine.
I don't
So,
know
yeah.
what we did last time.
I feel like you did one side and the other side, and then we went right back to straddle back. Somehow. Alright, so
Are
we
you
good?
good? Or you want
Yeah.
to go back in?
I think I'm good.
Let's
Helpasana, Hagasana, high fives.
All right.
Yes.
So we did get a little messy today, huh?
Oh yeah, we got totally messy, but that's kind of what we wanted. We want to show the real that it's not. We fall out. We try different things. It doesn't have to be like all textbook. I mean, when we have our training, it's definitely going to be textbook and safe. You'll have a flyer, usually 2 spotters, flyers, 2 spotters, and a base. But when you're playing, you just have fun. Be safe. You know, as you saw her falling over, I'm going with her. I'm making sure that her landing is soft. If I do see her falling, I either catch her with my body or do what I can to make sure if she's falling to my left or right, I kind of guide her down versus trying to like save her or just boom, letting her fall. Like, I think it is important how you fall out, because I remember sometimes people just like let me fall. There was no cushioning or anything.
Well, I appreciate that. All the consciousness that goes into helping me fall gracefully. I definitely notice, like, I feel comfortable with you because, like, I'm not even scared to fall anymore. So when you first start, like, it might be scary to fall, but I think it's healthy to get a couple falls in safely, so that when, you know, you're trying to get into these difficult and challenging poses, even for the beginner level, you can get through it and not be like super afraid and tense up, because you don't want to be tense, right?
Right. When you're tense, it makes everything so much harder. And another recommendation is to take couch cushions, like take the cushions from your couch, or if you have pillows, take the pillows from your bed and all the beds in your room and just lay them beside you. So when you do fall, it's nice and soft, you know, because if your base is not like as advanced, they might not even know how to help you land softly. So I think having those extra, having a spotter, of course, is clutch, but also having pillows and stuff if you don't have the spotter is really important too. Okay, so we specifically want to show you how to fall gracefully. As you can see, Kristen is falling gracefully. So we have a comforter, and basically Kristen is just like folding the comforter in half and just laying it beside the mat. So it doesn't take a really fancy setup. I mean, some people, when you go to gymnastics, they have, you know, gymnastic pads that you can land on. But if you just have a comforter, you could just pull the comforter off of your bed and just fold it in half a couple times. And then that way you have a graceful fall. Yeah, this little cushion. So let's show them how to fall. And then on this side, I have pillows. I'm just gonna line up the pillows. So we're all safe here. But she can't fall that way. She'll fall into the plants. So, but you did fall that way a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, but the plants were safe.
So what pose are we gonna fall out of?
What pose do you want to fall out of? Do we ever want to fall out of? Okay. Let's just go. Let's see what happens. Yeah, let's go straight into bird.
Okay.
So I'm gonna bring her straight into bird. So right now she's gonna stand up straight. And she's just gonna bring her hips forward. I'm gonna calibrate, make sure I can hold her. I'm gonna try to pick her up without using my hands, because we're probably gonna fall. So first I'll make sure the ball of my heel is on her hip bones. She's gonna lean forward, bringing the hips forward. I'm gonna scoop. Okay, so that was graceful. There's some. That just felt good. I feel like I wanted to fall on that.
It actually feels really nice. Like, it's all cool and everything.
Well, let's try it one more time to see if we can get it. Okay, so I'm gonna come a little bit closer. I'm making sure I can feel her toes. And so she's leaning forward. Again, I'm digging with my heels and whoa, I can't. Okay, let me try again. I'm not giving up here. Okay, come a little bit closer. There we go. Okay, there we go. All right. And so I love that you felt forward, because you see how I braced her with my hands. I am her first spotter always, even if you have a person spotter. So I braced her with my hands, and then I guided her over to the side, because we don't want her to fall here. So I'm always bracing here. The hands are always here. If someone gets wobbly, I'm always the first safety. Awesome. All right. We almost had it that time. One more time? Okay.
One more time.
Kristen, she's about it. She's about that life. Okay, ready? I think you tried to jump on that one.
No, I didn't.
No? Okay. Let's try
It's
again.
my feet are not really coming off the mat when you're
Okay.
pressing up. And
Okay.
then like you kind of pressed me back that last time too.
Okay, let me try it one more time.
Okay.
One more time, 20 times. Okay, so let's try it. Let me see if okay. Go ahead and give me all your weight, but not your chest though. Stay in upward facing. Yeah. Yeah, well, yes, okay. Regular. Okay.
There it goes.
Yay! So we did it. Yes. We're silly, y'all. Okay, that's awesome.
Great
You
job.
want to fall?
Sure. I don't think I had an option there. She was like, "You want to fall?"
I asked you first. Oh, that was fun.
All right, you good?
Good job. Oh, yay, that was fun. Thank you. Damn. All right, so that's how you fall gracefully. She loves falling. You actually can spot me more or base me more when we have like the cushions out there.
Okay.
All right, y'all, that's how you fall. And until next time, love yourself, love others, love the world, one day at a time, one breath at a time. Peace and love. We can do the heart.
Hey.